Hello guys, what's up? It's your boy, and I have Justice. And today, we're going to be going to my very first video game power skill. And this character we're going to be talking about is Asura from Asura's Wrath. Now, this is my very first video game power skill. I usually do comics or anime. I will let you know that there are some things I may leave out, but given the information that we've gathered, me and my friend from Discord, Cyberblader, we have just concluded that Asura is a very powerful individual, like one of the strongest video game characters out there. So, since we're going to be going into this, let's just see how powerful Asura from Asura's Wrath truly is. Asura was once a general that served in Shikoku army to protect Gaia from the Goma, along with Yasha, August, Wzyen, Olga, Sergei, Kalro, and Deos, the other 7 deities that served the Emperor and Shinkoku to protect Gaia. Asura is normally seen as a hot-tempered, stubborn, and reckless demigod by nature, and is known for charging head-on at the enemy without a second thought. As a powerful combatant, Asura displays both a strong will and absence of fear in less than positive situations, and will fight his adversaries recklessly until he is victorious. Due to his stubborn nature, Asura rarely accepts the aid of others and prefers to get out of situations on his own. Asura is also shown to be quite ruthless, since he has no problem killing his former demigod allies and slaughtering countless numbers of members of his own forces to rescue his daughter, since they did betray him to get her and killed his wife. Sad. But despite his negative faults, Asura is a good-hearted warrior with a strong moral code and gets angered when he sees an act that goes against his moral code. Asura values life of the innocent, being a mortal or a demigod, well both, since a demigod would be part mortal and god, and doesn't believe in sacrificing the innocents for any reasons, good or evil. As he greatly disapproves of the Goma attacks on Gaia, Deos' plan for the world and the 7 deities' methods of collecting mantra by slaughtering humans. Asura even states that there is no need for gods that only take. Asura was often shown to hate those who value themselves over others, as he is against August's philosophy about fighting for pleasure and being all that matters in life. Asura is also capable of developing strong bonds and preserving others as friends. Despite his wrath, this is proven by his friendship with his mortal daughter. Even when subjugated to mindless rage of his wrath form, Asura possessed enough control over himself to avoid attacking mortals and civilian demigods, but instead forcing his rage on his enemies, the Goma and the Shinkoku military. Asura shares a close bond with his daughter Mitra. Such a bond is so great that upon learning that demigods have made her suffer after orchestrating his downfall, literally Asura's case against this, Asura killed everyone that stood in his way, including the very allies that once revered him. Asura shows that a great pain when he hears his daughter cry. His only real weakness is seeing his daughter cry and wants nothing more than to see her happy and smiling. However, despite his parent love, Asura also shows great discomfort and accidents around his family due to the lack of more of a social life and parenting skills, since the only thing he knows how to do is punch anything that makes his daughter cry. So not only Asura is a powerful individual, he's a loving and caring god and a caring parent at most. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into just how powerful the Wrath demigod truly is. For starters, the first feats we see from Asura is from the beginning of the game when he's able to slaughter multiple Goma spawning from Gaia. Later on, Vitra appeared basically where the Goma came from, well, mother of all Goma. Asura, along with Yasha, was able to defeat Vitra, well, mostly Asura, with the help of his daughter Mitra, able to amplifying his mantra. Although this was temporary, Asura was able to send it back to Gaia, since Vitra was basically a part of Gaia at this point. This would at least be multi-continental since Vitra took a big portion of Gaia just by bursting out of it, and Asura was able to temporarily send it back. When his mantra was amplified by his daughter, Mithra. Later on after this, Asura was soon deemed a traitor by being blamed for killing the Emperor of Shingoku, and being betrayed by his fellow demigods because Mithra can harness mantra and was able to give the deities the power needed to finally rid the Goma from Gaia once and for all. So they kidnapped his daughter and killed his wife, and then banished him to Gaia so that he would not stop them from their plans. After 12,000 years have passed, nothing seems to have changed since his banishment to Gaia. Goma were still destroying and killing humans, and Shinkoku ships appeared in the sky above to the attacking village. Wzyen, Asura's former colleague and a member of this new form of the seven deities, appeared and approached Asura. After a brief conversation between the two, it resulted into a fight between them. Asura was easily able to overpower base Wzyen until he transformed into the size of a mountain, saying that they were able to accomplish this power because of Mitra's power to amplify mantra. And with this power, Wzyen was able to overpower Asura in his base state. After remembering his daughter and what has happened to her, hearing her cry, Asura began to get angry from his rage. Note, Asura gets multiple amps throughout the game to show just how much stronger he gets. Also, since his entity is Wrath, or his title is Wrath, so it would have made sense for his character to have such a thing, make him seem more like a Hulk or Saiyan character, since Saiyans get stronger throughout battles, or the Hulk gets stronger the madder he gets. So it would kind of make sense for Asura to have this kind of power or trait unique to him. So with every fight, or even after a fight, Asura gets angry and has multiple rage boosts, and he gets stronger throughout the fight. And within this fight, he was able to transform into his six-arm state and easily overpower Wzyen, to the point where Wzyen had to get aid from a Shinkoku ship to try to stop and to hold off Asura, and Asura easily took out the ship and sent Wzyen hurling into space. Angered by the fact that Asura in Wzyen's eyes was nothing more than a traitorous lowly monkey, he used the mantra reactor to amplify his own mantra, a portion of the Karma Fortress mantra reserves. Since the Karma Fortress can transform souls from humans into mantra, and with this reserve, Wzyen transformed into a giant state where he literally was the size of Gaia, and Wzyen seemingly crushed Asura with only his finger. But this wasn't the end of our hero. But holding up Wzyen's finger and keep it from crushing him, Asura finally remembered what happened to him 12,000 years before, and the death of his wife, his banishment, and his daughter being kidnapped. With this newly found rage, Asura used all of it to completely destroy Wzyen. I mean, just obliterate Wzyen. At this point, Asura should at least be set in his base state and in his six-arm state to be at least multi-continental to planetary at this point in the game, also scaling off of Wzyen in his final form. His size and power can be said to at least be enough force to destroy Gaia. I'll provide the count below in the description to show just how powerful Wzyen would be at this point. It's a pretty good count. I'll also put the count in the video right here. After defeating Wzyen and soon after being defeated by Yasha, note he was holding his own before this with no arms against Yasha, but he was defeated by Yasha in the end. And then he was sent to Naraka for 500 years. 500 years have passed, and Asura's soul has returned to his body by getting some motivation from the Golden Spire to climb up the tower of Naraka to return his soul towards the living world. After this, Goma Shinkoku forces came to a village where Asura was revived at, and then he confronted Calc, and then learned that Deus was using souls from humans to turn souls into mantra. Asura soon found himself facing his former friend and master after this, known as August, a member of the same deities. Asura August doesn't care about the saving the world or the great rebirth. He just wants a good fight. And soon after some well-relaxed time they had with each other, they made their way to the moon to have their epic battle. Asura was able to fight evenly against August, even in the 6-arm state. Eventually, August unsheathed his sword, which was stated later on by Yash that only Deos and now Asura were the only ones that August deemed worthy to fight with his full power, and Asura eventually defeated his former master, but at the cost of losing his arms again. After fighting the entire army of Goma with his master's sword in one of the most incredible fights in the game, Olga, another member of the 7 deities, finally thought it was about time to put an end to Asura's rebellion. So, she ordered the entire Shikoku fleet to fire on Asura and the village Asura was in. With the death of the villagers and a little girl that Asura thought was his daughter, or well, image that looked like his daughter, Asura gained another rage amp when thinking of the death of that little girl and transformed into Asura the Berserker. With this newfound power, Asura was able to completely destroy Olga's fleet and made her retreat. Yasha then stated to Deos that Asura's newfound power might have surpassed the power of the Brahmatra, the Karma Fortress, in this way, and probably surpassed the power of the 7 deities altogether. Although he made her retreat, she then used the power of the Karma Fortress to fire upon Asura, seemingly destroying him. But then Asura later appeared and killed Sergei right in front of Yasha, another member of the 7 deities. After the last conversation with Sergei, it made that he in fact was the one that killed Yasha's sister and Asura's wife. Asura the Berserker finally put an end to the sleeping coward known as Sergei, crushing his head, and then began his battle against Yasha. It seemed to be quite an evenly matched, and then eventually Yasha overpowered this form of Asura and returned the Karma Fortress to confront Deos, since he found a new plan that would put an end to the Goma once and for all. The plan being in Asura. After an incredible fight between the 2 demigods, eventually Yasha gave Deos his full power, which seemed to not fade the powerful demigod, and then Asura later joined Yasha at the fortress. Note that this same Deos in the past fought and defeated August in order to recruit him to join the 7 guardian deities, since August killed one of the deities that was previously a member of it. So this is an impressive since Asura was able to fight and defeat August, and Yasha was able to hold his own against Deos for a good moment of time. Not saying that they are stronger than Deos at this point, but saying they should scale above August and somewhat near relative to Deos. Moving on, later, Asura and Yasha fought an overpowered Deos and forced him to retreat to the Karma Fortress to merge with it. Asura and Yasha were able to fight and defeat this Deos merged with the Karma Fortress, which was one of the most impressive fights within the game. Again, there's some pretty good impressive fights in this game. I'm not even joking. This is an impressive feat because the fortress should at least scale to Dwarf star level at most, mostly because of the size of the fortress and where the Calc should scale it to. I'll place the Calc in the description below and post in the video as seen here. After defeating Deos, Vitra appeared once again, which seemed to be was going to destroy all of Gaia. Deos' last dying words were telling Asura that Vitra was seemingly unbeatable and that its power was limitless, believing Yasha and Asura would never be able to defeat it. Asura and Yasha made their way to Gaia to stop Vitra, destroyed hordes of Goma, and then taken on Vitra's large tentacles. They fought their way through until Vitra shone its eagle-like face and blasted Asura and Yasha and overpowered them. When they seemed to be defeated, Vitra was able to heal them and give them a power-up similar to how she was able to in the beginning of the game, which gave Asura a form that was known as Mantra Asura. With this newfound power, they were able to overpower this form of Vitra and made their way into the core of Vitra. Once they entered the core, Vitra revealed its true form, which looks oddly similar to Asura's Berserker form. But continue on. Once they fought and they completely defeated Vitra and its core, which was one of the best boss tag team fights I've ever played in this game. I keep saying this, but this game has some really good fights. Anyway, they made their way back to the Karma Fortress and all seemed well in the end until Olga appeared and held Mitra captive. Before Asura was able to beat that bitch's ass for taking his daughter, the Golden Spider appeared and seemingly saved Mitra. But everything up until now was all a part of the plan of the Golden Spider. He merged with Mitra and revealed his true form, being Chakravarthin, the true god and embodiment of all mantra. He told Asura and Yasha that he was the one that bestowed mantra to the world and unleashed the Goma upon the world to test them to choose his worthy successor. And by overcoming these trials that he set before them, and choosing his next candidate to be his successor to this world. In attempting to save his daughter, Asura dug deep into the rage he had before and tried to stop Chakravarthin. He was able to hold his own for a brief moment and push through some of Chakravarthin's barriers until he transformed into his wrath state and tried to go even further. But in the end, he was soon pushed away by Mitra to save him from the onslaught of the mantra god, and was seemingly defeated. Yasha then grabbed Asura and escaped to Gaia to plan their next move. Although hope seemed lost, Yasha believed that the only person who could stop Chakravarthin was Asura, so he planned on giving Asura the mantra reactor from the Karma Fortress, which accumulated 7 trillion souls worth of mantra. Although all the mantra had seemed to be used up and was powerless alone, but it was mostly used as a vessel for Asura's wrath. But not only this, he gave Asura his own core to power it. Later on, Asura and Yasha fought for one final time to decide who was the stronger, which one of them is the strongest, which I thought was kind of a weird point in this game, since the mantra god Johnny Chakravarthin trying to destroy everything. But whatever, still a good fight though. The two were going toe to toe and seemed evenly matched, but Asura was able to unleash his unlimited mode, or his mantra reactor form, and overpower and defeated his former rival. Honestly, Asura was stronger than Yasha at this point. But in doing so, Asura sees what Yasha did for him by giving him his core to him. So with his newfound motivation and the power given to him by Yasha, Asura joined going into saving his daughter Mitra and stopping Chakravarthin once and for all. On his way to Chakravarthin, after Yasha fit Asura with the power of the mantra reactor, Asura's body became capable of safely harnessing any amount of mantra he could generate. When Chakravarthin attempted to destroy Gaia with the powerful blast from his mantra, Asura stood in front of it and took the full brunt of the attack, assuming his form into Asura the Destroyer. In this form, he became larger than Gaia itself, and his skin becomes gray coloring, and his mantra skin also becomes gray, and he assumes at least 6 arms identified from his previous form, his mantra form. In this form, all of the abilities or overall power was greatly amplified to godlike status. As during his battle with the mantra god, his blast did multiple stars and planets on his way to fight against the mantra god, and was able to punch planets at least 100 times bigger than himself, to the point where they were shattered into pieces. This should at least put him at least large star to at least solar system, likely multi-solar. You can also say that Asura is like galaxy level, since Chakravarthin's force-like form was stuck in the Milky Way, in the center of the Milky Way galaxy, and was sucking the Milky Way within himself, he was in the center of this galaxy. So since Asura the Destroyer was able to defeat this form-like construct of Chakravarthin, you can say he was scaled this high. But hold on, let's not stop there. Asura can be scaled a lot higher than this in his final fight against Chakravarthin. In his final fight against Chakravarthin, Chakravarthin explains to Asura that he created the world and that he was going to let Asura take his place as his guardian and that he would go to other worlds that will need his help. But Asura strongly denied his offer, and since he denied the mantra god Chakravarthin was going to destroy him and his world and make a new one like he always done. In this context here, worlds were mostly referenced to universes since this whole game is based on a Bushido-like mythology, where usually when you reference world in this mythology, it references mostly to universes. But in the context that Chakravarthin is stating here, it would mean universe, and since also the world known as Naraka, a world between life and death, it is implied that it is infinite since Asura's soul had to climb up the endless pillar to the living world to get to his body. Also, Asura was able to shatter the wall of Naraka in his final fight against Chakravarthin, and when Chakravarthin entered his creative form, he was able to alter an entire realm, which was potentially keep the size of the wall of Naraka. Chakravarthin also implied to create other worlds as well as their prime universe itself, which they were in. And this would also mean that Asura in his base state, which he was able to fight and defeat Chakravarthin, the creator, in, he should at least be universal plus 2, likely low multiversal in this form. Now moving on to speed. Asura should at least be for a low ball billions to trillions of times the speed of light, with a possible level of infinite speed. Now I've covered immeasurable, inaccessible, and irrelevant speed in the past, but now I have to cover what infinite speed is. Now infinite speed is basically moving from point A to point B at an infinite distance within a finite amount of time. So imagine you have like an infinite space or an infinite universe, and you're moving from one point to the other in an infinite amount at an infinite distance in just a finite amount of time. That would be what infinite speed is. So for the massively faster than light scaling for Asura, he was able to cross the distance from Gaia to the center of the Milky Way galaxy in under a few minutes, while dodging several of Chakravarthin's mantra beams in the process. He was also able to go toe-to-toe with Chakravarthin and his Chakravarthin God Creator form, giving him at least massively faster than light reaction and combat speed, along with travel speed. And for the possible infinite speed, it will come from him climbing from up the infinite ladder that resided in Naraka, his soul trying to return to his body. Since Naraka, the world, is implied to be an infinite realm, since the ladder within it will be going an infinite distance, Naraka can possibly be said to be infinite in size going off of this. And since Asura had to climb to it to reach the living world for his soul to return to his body, you can say that Asura would be able to have infinite speed in this case. So it will likely would give Asura at least billions of times massively faster than light to trillions of times of it, and also give him a possible infinite speed for this on top of that. Now moving on to hacks and abilities and explain a little more on Asura's rage boost and how he gets a lot stronger and faster throughout the fights in the games. For starters, in Asura's final fight with Chakravarthin in his Destroyer form, Asura was able to absorb energy attacks stronger than himself with his energy core when Chakravarthin fired a blast strong enough that was going to destroy Gaia entirely. Asura was able to absorb this power by using his energy core. Note that at this time, Asura was at least Dwarf star level 2 multi-solar system at best, and Chakravarthin in his Edo state, his giant fortress golem state, he was at least galaxy level since he was sucking the Milky Way galaxy into himself, since the galaxy was being sucked into the center. So this would show that this Asura will be able to absorb energy from being stronger than himself at least. Asura also has the Wrath Cannon, which releases energy as opposed with his like 6-arm state or just his normal state. The Wrath Cannon is an attack that temporarily increases his AP, when he fires it, it increases with every shot he fires. Asura can also fire massive strikes of energy, or nearly thousands of hundreds of energy blasts at once, which should have an infinite range. His attacks can also cross Naraka, an infinite realm. This is also within the tier of the realm. You can also argue Asura a lot higher into infinite speed, since he goes to Naraka for 4 times within the game. It takes him less time to leave Naraka each time he goes. For the first time he went for 12,000 years, then 500 years, then 24 hours, then 10 minutes, implying he got a lot faster each time. It would at least be 4 times for him to get faster from scaling from each character who actually blitzed him after he went for each trip to Naraka. Once was from Yasha, once was from Deos, twice was from Chakravarthin. So this would at least be 4 to 8 times baseline infinite speed for him. Asura can also tank conceptual destruction and existence erasure, and also output it himself, since Chakravarthin was going to erase him from existence, and Chakravarthin was stated to be the creator of all mantra, and that if he were to leave, mantra would no longer exist. And Asura was able to defeat him with not only his attack but his energy attacks, and was able to damage and defeat Chakravarthin, so implying that he also has resistance to conceptual erasure and existence erasure. Asura can also catch and nullify energy and also return it back to his opponent even if they're equal than him. You can also imply that Asura can stack his transformation's power on top of his base form, as seen in the battle with Chakravarthin. Base Asura became strong enough to kill Chakravarthin. As shown prior, he was able to stack his Destroyer form on top of his base state, and since his Destroyer form was strong enough to beat Chakravarthin's Edo form, his golden light form, which at this point was destroying the Milky Way galaxy, and prior, Asura was like dwarf star level to like multi-solar system. And he's also able to like absorb the power from Chakravarthin when he was going to destroy Gaia, and he was like weaker than him, and he gotten a lot stronger up until the point where he fought against Chakravarthin, the creator. So in a short amount of time, Asura gotten a lot stronger. He made like quite a big jump from like dwarf star level to like universal to low multiversal in a short amount of time. Mostly the factor of his rage being like the boost and the factor of him getting stronger. Since when he taps into his rage, he's able to acquire power to where he was being pushed back or defeated before, to being able to overpower and defeat the enemy he was facing prior. And now for the last part of the video, I'll give a brief explanation of what mantra is. Chakravarthin is the embodiment of mantra, the creator of mantra, and the god on which mantra came from. He is the one that bestowed mantra upon the world of Gaia for the humans to use to manipulate with. Mantra in its full form is composed of 8 pure mantras, those being wrath, pride, greed, lust, vanity, violence, melancholy, and sloth, of which the titles of the 7 great deities fall under. In its natural form, it resembles vibrations similar to those emanated by sound waves, and composes a very small power on its own. However, through its manipulation, either being praises or by restoring it within the mantra reactor, mantra can become an immense source of power. When amplified like that of Mitra, appears as greeting a mist of aura, capable of powering machines, healing, and also able to strengthening and amplifying the individual to like godlike status. As seen when she's able to amplify Asura and Yasha's mantra twice within the game. Mantra also influenced the speed in which the civilians advanced technology. For example, the demigod civilization, the only ones capable of fully manipulating it, have far surpassed the other human civilization's technical advances, and advanced to spaceflight and near immortality through medicine and robotics, before any of the others even thought of contributing to bacteria. Even so, one does not need to be able to manipulate mantra to feel its effects. That is why each human race technology advancements depend entirely on its location. Those in the area with a high concentration of mantra will advance quickly and vice versa. Mantra can be obtained either through prayers or through sacrifices, the latter needed repeatedly to light the souls of humans. Human souls can also be transferred into mantra, as when shown when Dale's whole plan was gathering and killing humans and making their souls into mantra to power the mantra. Some more little facts on mantra. Mantra plays a big role in Buddhism, being described as a source of all life. Pure mantra is described in different colors, and their auras is mixed form. Wrath is red, violence is yellow, vanity is light blue, sloth is green, melancholy is dark blue, lust is purple, greed is yellow, and pride is white. Pride mantra is considered the most special of the 8 because it believes it is the most bestowed upon it, being the most worthy and rule over all of Shinkoku, as shown with Dale's being have a superior personality and believe that he was the true savior of Gaia. The 8 guardian generals individual of unify all of the 8 purified mantras and each draw his or own from the simplest form of mantra. Asura is the general of wrath, Wzyen the general of violence, August is the general of greed, Kairo is the general of sloth, Dales is the general of pride, Olga is the general of lust, Sergei is the general of vanity, Yasha is the general of melancholy. 5 of the 8 kinds of mantra are part of the 7 deadly sins. Of the 3 parts, 2 of them are absence of melancholy, vulgar, and vanity. Are also 2 historical sins of the 7 deadly sins. The third being violence, also talking in sense of the context of the 7 deadly sins. But without the way, just how powerful is Asura truly? Well, going at as high as showings, as shown when you fight against Chakravarthin and Chakravarthin the creator. In his destroyer form, he should at least be dwarf star level to reaching those galaxy level showings, as shown when Chakravarthin was sucking the Milky Way galaxy within the center, and reaching universal plus to low multiversal from his destroyer form and his mantra form up into his base amp state. Since Chakravarthin was stated to be the creator of everything within the verse, all mantra, and the creator of the universe and the prime universe and other worlds, and also being the creator of Naraka, which is implied to be infinite in size, since the latter is described to have be endless, and the size of the realm is infinite in size. Since when the context I have explained earlier, when they're referring to worlds, he is referring to universe or universes within the context as shown within the game. But going off of that, Asura at its highest should at least be universal plus to possibly low multiversal. I would say it's safe to say universal plus is safe for him. But that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new about Asura that you haven't learned before. If you liked the video, please hit like, share, and subscribe, and also comment down below. And also tell me what you'd like to see for the next upcoming video. Give me some good ideas. I'm up for anything. But with that, I will see you guys later. Have a good day or good night, and enjoy your life. Peace.